Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ghost from Ghost Consultant, and in today's video we are taking a step forward from a previous video, which was the basic configuration of Boldon James classifier. Now in this we are going to take a step-by-step look at how the configuration of the policies take place in the Fortran Boldon James. We'll be following the exact flow that drives a policy creation. We'll start off with the selector library, coming all the way to the bottom to the policies, and we are going to enforce some of the policies. Now this will give you a clear understanding of how all the pieces that we've created work together. The first step in the process is creating a selector library. If you remember from a previous video, we have already created it. So for this video, I'm going to create another label so that I could show you how you can have multiple labels as well, something called as a subclassification. So to give you an idea about what selector library is, if you guys don't remember, this is where we define labels such as confidential, internal, public. Now these are being used as contents. These labels acts as a trigger that we're going to see later in the policy. Now to add another library of selectors, I'm going to go back to add a new selector, single selector list, and I'm going to give it the name sub classification. To add internal, business, and let's make it orange, and internal, private, we'll call it orange as well. So the goal that I'm looking here is, if a document is internal, they can have two other classifications. First one is internal for business purpose, and there could be internal files which is for their private. Let's say for example a user's own salary slips, or maybe their completion of certificates, or maybe something else, they could mark it as internal private. So that is the goal. It's going to be part of the internal, and we're going to click on OK. Now if you remember, the next step is to always call it in our policy. I'm going to select, you'll see subclassification is here. I'm going to click on add, make sure that the ribbon is selected, and we are going to click on OK. Now as always, we can go back to the label preview. As you can see, now if you see here, it's not linked to anything, so it's giving you the option for public as well as for internal. I would want it to be linked to a specific one. For this, we are going to come on to policies, properties, use assisted labeling, and click on OK. Now if I go back to my policies, you will see that there is one more option being added if it loads. Now if you see, there is one more option called as connect selectors. I'm going to click here. Now this is the sequence. I'm again going to come back, add a selector. Now the first thing in our policy would be label 1, so we are going to click on add. Like I said, we are going to map the second selector as part of internal, so I'm going to select it, add a selector, select. Now if you see this is our label 1. You expand it, you get the subclassification. Now if I go back to label preview, if I select public, nothing here, select internal, I get the subclassification. As always, I would like it to be a button. So I'm going to click added properties option. So we are going to have name here, color and text, and we are going to select display value as buttons and click on OK. The second thing that we have from our list is called as marking library. Now this section defines the content that you've classified, how we visually mark that content. It includes headers, footers, and watermarks, and some other fields that you can pick from. This is required so that your users know that they are dealing with a sensitive file. So to start with, I'm just going to create a new marking format, and we are going to name it header. Now you can call in variables here. My goal is I'll put a statement. This is classified as, and I would want to print my classification here, but I don't want to make separate marking library. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a placeholder from the selector, and we are going to select label 1, which is our classification, and we are going to select the default value. Again, to quickly verify, you can come up top to the right and select preview. You'll see this is classified as public. Now for this, I'm not going to deal with the subclassification in the marking format. I'm just going to select this, click on OK. And I'm just going to edit the summary marking here because I want it to just point to a selector. All right. Now the other, I would say, required field from the security perspective is metadata. Now we can call in something for the metadata. We can have the word along with the ID, and we can go on to preview. Now where to find this ID, I'm going to guide you later on for that. We are going to click on OK. The next stop is the content library. This is where the real inspection happens. You can create automated classification for your document. Now I'm going to use a very basic example for this. For our example, we are going to look for a word called as ghost. So add a new expression. Let's call it example. And the expression, it does use regular expressions as well, but its own customized regular expression. So make sure you check the documentation for it. These are case sensitive. So click on OK. Now all the expression needs to have a matcher. So there are two use cases that you would usually satisfy with the content library. One is the automated classification. The other one is to not allow a certain word with a specific classification. So let's say if there is a word ghost in the document, I would not want it to be classified as public. So I'm going to add a new matcher. I'm going to add ghost not public for our explanation, or let's put ghost here, and let's put ghost not public. Now since we only have a single criteria, we're going to do match any, but this is your or condition and this is your and condition. Now next, we're going to select our expression, click on next. Now if you see, I have two options. The content is not allowed. The content is allowed when used with these selector values. Going back to our use case, if a document has the word ghost, it should not be public, but it could be internal or confidential. I'm going to select internal or confidential and click on finish. Now the last bit that I want to talk about is the condition library from the library perspective. This is where we define contextual conditions and apply a specific rule to it. We can use a condition like who the user is, what application they are using, the location, direction of the data movement. Now conditions will help you fine tune when and where a specific policy or in specific a rule is to be applied. A basic use case for this, let's say if a user is from a certain AD group, they should have the permission to downgrade the classification. So I'm going to create a new condition. I'm going to give admin, let's give admin downgrade, and I'm going to give allow admins to downgrade. All right, now click on add a condition type. Now since this is based on user and I want to be it mapped to a group membership of a user, I'm going to select it. I'm going to use a single condition, so it doesn't matter, but if you're using multiple conditions, this is where you would use the and or conditions. Now add a new condition entry, and I'm going to select user is a member of, and I have one group which is called as leaders, so I'm going to click this and click on OK, and I'm going to click on OK, and we're going to click on OK again. So if you can see, admin downgrade, allow admins to downgrade. Now this one is going to be specifically called into a rule, and that is when only it will work. Now moving ahead to our policies, we have configured all the components. Now we are going to configure it in the policy. Here, like I said, we are going to combine the selector library, the marking library, the content library, and the condition library and create our rules. So go on to the policies and click on set rules. Now this is the hierarchy. As of now, I'm going to just work with the application word, but you can use similar logic for the other applications. So some of the basic use cases that I've seen. First one, no user should be able to save a document without classifying. So we're going to create that first. So on to no label, I'm going to select add a rule and select my application word. Click on next. Now this is called as check for mandatory selectors. I'm going to select this rule, click on next. In here, the mandatory selector, I'm going to select label 1 as mandatory, the subclassification is not mandatory. The action, I'm going to set it to prevent, because like I said, it's mandatory check. You can change the label message. This is a fail message that is going to come if it fails. So we are going to click on OK. The second basic rule that any policy would have for a data classification solution is our visual marking and our metadata rule. So for that, I'm going to click on any label, select add a rule. Again, go back to our Word application, and we're going to select add a header, click on next. Now it's going to be part of prefix. In all pages, this is where you would mention the marking library that you created. If you see, these are all my marking libraries. I'm going to select header, click on OK, and click on OK. As you can see, it's here. Now I would also want to do the same thing for metadata. Now this one, you'll have to select add this property for predefined properties of the Word application, or you could add a custom document property as well. For this video, we are going to stick to the document property, which is default. Now we are going to select where we want to add. So these are the basic properties which are available. Ideally, we would select keywords, and in the format, we are going to select our metadata format. Click on OK and OK. All right. So obviously, to add our condition library or to trigger the condition library just for the demo, I'm going to add another rule which says don't allow the user to downgrade. So for this, It's called check for label change. So we'll have two rules. So for the first, we are going to check for the label change and permit upgrade only. If it fails, we are going to select prevent. So the user cannot downgrade. We are going to click on OK. Now we are going to add another rule for the Word document. The same rule, check for label change, but we are going to add the condition. Now this rule will only trigger if this condition is met. So check for label change and permit any change. Since we want it for the admins to do upgrade and downgrade. And subclassification, we are going to select any change. And obviously we are going to warn, but it's not going to trigger anyways. So click on OK. The final step that we are going to do is we are going to publish this configuration. Going to give basic configuration and click on OK.